In September 2015, the United Nations committed world leaders to the adoption of a global development agenda known as Sustainable Development Goals, with measurable targets and clear deadlines for improving the world's poorest people by 2023. The Sustainable Development Goals is a successor agenda to the Millennium Development Goals (MDGs). The new set of goals were adopted at the 17th session of the UN Summit in New York in 2015 as part of efforts to consolidate and, of course, address the unfinished business of the Millennium Development Goals. The SDGs target 17 thematic areas that build on past achievements. They are broader, deeper, and far more ambitious in scope when compared with the 8 MDGs. To ensure effective implementation of the goals, President Muhammadu Buhari appointed the former Deputy Governor of Lagos State, Princess Adejoke Orilokpe Adefolire, as his Senior Special Assistant on SDGs. On this episode of Agenda 2030, we'll bring you a 6-year scorecard of the implementation of the goals in Nigeria as presented by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on SDGs, Princess Adejoke Orilokpe Adefolire. Take a listen.
I am delighted to be here with you this morning and to provide an update on the Nigeria implementation of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development in Nigeria. Indeed, when the world leader met during the 70th session of the United Nations General Assembly, specifically on the 25th of September 2015, they were very clear that they wanted a world that is economically sustainable, socially inclusive, and environmentally resilient. This vision is expressed through these 17 Sustainable Development Goals, 169 targets, and 230 key performance indicators. Broadly, the SDGs are a universal call to action to end poverty, safeguard the planet, and ensure that all people enjoy peace, prosperity by year 2030. So following the historic adoption of the SDGs, our President Muhammadu Buhari-led federal government acted quickly in the operationalization of the SDG in Nigeria. This commenced with the timely establishment of our office to provide strategic direction and impetus to the national commitment on the SDGs. The office is charged with the horizontal and vertical intergovernmental coordination and guidance for the SDG in Nigeria. This entails mainstreaming, acceleration, and policy support for the SDGs. Very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is pertinent to state that our office does not implement the SDG in a lateral meaning, but coordinates the implementation of the SDG across the country. Thus, Nigeria's strategic approach to the implementation of the SDG can be seen in 2 different levels, at the national level and sub-national level. At the national level, our office works closely with the Federal Ministry, Department, and Agency of Government to integrate the relevant SDGs into their sectoral plans and programs. At the sub-national level, similar institutional structures have been adopted by the 36 states of the Federation and FCTs. As a vertical coordination, our office is working closely with the states to mainstream the SDG into their medium and long-term development policies and plans.
As part of the key milestones between 2016 till date, the presidential advisor listed the institutional frameworks, policies, and plans put in place. These include the realignment of the national statistical system with the SDGs, successful domestication and customization of global best practices, and successful presentation of 2 voluntary national review, VNR.
Between 2016 to date, we have successfully institutionalized the SDG in Nigeria through the implementation of number of strategic initiatives and programs. This includes the following: the alignment of national statistical system with the SDGs. In partnership with National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, we have successfully realigned Nigeria National Statistical System with the requirements of indicators and SDGs. This realignment started in 2018 and concluded in 2021, last year, with the official launch of the report by His Excellency the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria on the 21st of December 2021. This strategic initiative will enable Nigeria to rely on national statistical sources to track the implementation of SDG on an annual basis. With this exercise, Nigeria is the first African country to successfully realign its statistical system with the indicator of the SDGs. Domestication. The ISDG model that was launched by Mr. President himself is a model and homegrown analytical framework and policy stimulation model for use in aligned national development strategy with the SDGs. This enabling line ministry, department and agencies of government to channel resources toward the SDG areas. Nigeria began the process of ISDG domestication in 2017, and the report was officially launched by Mr. President at the margins of the 74th session of the United Nations General Assembly on September 24, 2019. We now integrated the SDG into Nigeria National Development Plan that is being used now by Nigerian government 2021 to 2025. And efforts are being made now to start the 2025 to 2030 and Nigeria Agenda 2050. The voluntary national review. Nigeria presented its first and second voluntary national review to the United Nations High-Level Political Forum in 2017 and 2020, respectively. We will be presenting the third voluntary national review in July 2023. The voluntary national review serves as cornerstone for the following follow-up and review mechanism for the 2030 agenda. SDG implementation plan at the decade of action 2020 to 2030. The SDG implementation plan provides a roadmap for fast-tracking the implementation of SDG in Nigeria by chronically reviewing the past, examining the present, and meticulously discussing the future for the SDGs. The implementation plan mirrors the thematic areas of the new National Development Plan of 2021 to 2025 and Nigeria Agenda 2050. The Nigeria SDG Implementation Plan 2020 to 2030 was formally launched last year, June 2021. Stakeholders engagement. Establishment of stakeholder engagement platform for the SDG implementation in Nigeria. This includes the private sector advisory group for SDGs, the donor and development partnership forum, civil society strategy group on SDGs. These strategic platforms are helping to mobilize expertise and additional resources and investment in support of the SDG achievement in Nigeria. Support to state on development planning. In partnership with UNDP, our office is providing technical and financial support to states on the development of SDG-based medium and long-term plans. So far, 16 states are receiving technical and financial support on demand-driven basis. They include Akwa Ibom State, Bauchi, Gombe, Ekiti, Kaduna, Kwara, Kogi, Ondo, Lagos, Osun, Oyo, Plateau, Sokoto, Yobe, Niger, and Zamfara State. These states are at the various stages of the planning process while Gombe and Kwara have successfully launched their 10-year SDG-based development plan early this year. By the end of this administration, we hope that more states will be engaged, and by 2030, we expect that we will have supported all the 36 states on SDG-based development plan. This will ensure state annual budgets are funded the implementation of the SDG at sub-national level, and this will trickle down to the local government from the state. Monitoring and tracking system. Robust monitoring and tracking system have been designed using computer-based software, ProTrack, to track and monitor all SDG interventions and other intervention on projects across the country. Global positioning system is the backbone of this tracking system, and we're able to track and identify projects by locations. Partnership. In partnership with the United Nations Children Fund, UNICEF, we commissioned an independent evaluation of 2 priority SDGs, SDG 3 on gender, SDG 3 on quality health and well-being for all, and SDG 4 on qualitative inclusive education and lifelong learning for all. This strategy exercise has just been concluded, and the 2 reports are ready for launch by August this year. With this, Nigeria is now again the first country in the global south to successfully conduct a country-led independent SDG policy evaluation. The key findings will be used to inform policy formulation around the SDGs. As for our modest contribution, we coordinated the activities of the Presidential Steering Committee and other support, and we also supported by distributing 22 intensive care ambulances to state governments, personal protective equipment, and strategic medical equipment like hospital beds to support the national government, and conducted mass advocacy and sensitization on COVID-19 pandemic and safety protocols.
Princess Adejoke Orilokpe Adefuliwe also gave insight into some of the Special Intervention Program embarked upon by the Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the President in a bid to bridge the development gap and ensure that no one is left behind.
As coordinating office, we have successfully implemented strategic intervention and programs across the country. Notable amongst are conditional grant scheme to state and FCT. This is an initiative introduced as an incentive to states to invest more to their resources into area of national development priorities, and the MDG/SDG implementation. This conditional grant scheme is a conditional matching grant with 50% from the federal government and 50% from participating states. From 2016 to date, grants were targeted at education, health sector, water and sanitation, and aim at executing proper programs and projects in a consultative manner with the beneficiary. To date, state and federal and FCT have benefited the sum of 24,450 million naira. And the projects executed were on 3 critical sectors: water and sanitation. 732 projects has been done, providing water, sanitation to communities, to schools, and through our partners in support with our partner, the donor agencies. 494 primary healthcare centers are built and equipped in different states. 616 education facilities, notably schools, were built, equipped for young people for the basic education at the state levels. 1,150,000 women and men were empowered through vocational, and the training were offered and empowerment were given. Special intervention projects across 6 geopolitical zones. This initiative is aimed at strategic investment to fast-track the achievement of SDG in Nigeria. Between 2016 and 2021, a record number of projects has been implemented aimed at providing essential services to accelerate the achievement of SDG by ensuring that no Nigeria is left behind. In the education sector, 8,008 classrooms were constructed and 305 were renovated with furnitures to strengthen the basic education across Nigeria as our model contributions. Total of 4,845 desktop computers were also supplied to schools across the country for information and communication technology training. In the health sector, 195 healthcare centers comprising of healthcare centers, mother and child centers were constructed and equipped to complement with 199 intensive care and rural ambulances, about 257 incubators, and 7,464 regular automated hospital beds were supplied to primary, secondary, and tertiary health institutions across the country. In other cost-cutting sectors, our office constructed 66 functional and skill acquisition centers, supplied also 1,204 transformers, also provided 19,266 solar power street lights, 300 housing units for the internally displaced person in Borno State, and 973 solar boreholes, in addition to several other interventions being carried out by our office.
With partnerships as a key component of the SDGs, the Senior Special Assistant to the President on SDGs reeled out some of the strategic collaborations between her office and other stakeholders, targeted at accelerating the implementation of the goals.
Reducing poverty and sharing prosperity, the government of Nigeria has maintained steady investment in expenditure in health, education, and other social services between 2015 to 2018. Because investment in those areas are essential and integral to the addressing poverty, with about 10.8 million out-of-school children and more people driven into poverty due to many issues. COVID is one that ravaged the world. Nigeria's expenditure on education of 8.6% in 2015 has witnessed a steady decline of 8.5% and 8.2% in 2016 and 2017 to 2018. This was largely due to COVID-19 witnessed and other related issues across the country, and of course the global oil prices that we witnessed. Goal 2, Zero Hunger. Findings from the baseline show that the prevalence of undernourishment in 2016 for stunting, moderate stunting, and severe stunting was 22.9%. and 20.4% and 20.5% respectively. While in 2019, the report indicated that 32% stunting and 21.2% and 10.10% for moderate and severe stunting respectively. Thus, we have moderate decrease in severe stunting among our young children. Goal 3. The summary of the baseline indication that the rate of under 5 mortality rate, meaning that for any child born in a specific year to survive before the age of 5, per 1,000 births in 2016 was 128 to 1,000. It has reduced significantly to 100 in both 2018 and 2019. However, The population of Nigeria covered by the National Health Insurance Scheme for better quality of life via the removal of financial barrier increased from 634,154 to make 266,000 for female, made up of 2,066,608 for female and a male in 2016, for about 781,057 for male and 332,742 for females, an increase of about 26% national coverage, encouraging state government to cover more people on health insurance to be able to achieve the goal SDG 3.
Princess Adejoke Orilokpe Adefuliwe listed some of the key takeaways to include the establishment of institutional frameworks, development of key policies and plans, design of robust monitoring and tracking systems, and working with stakeholders to mobilize financial resources of the implementation of the goals.
Goal 1. Ending poverty in all forms. Reducing poverty and sharing prosperity, the government of Nigeria has maintained steady investment in expenditure in health, education, and other social services between 2015 to 2018. Because investment in those areas are essential and integral to the addressing poverty. Goal 2, zero hunger. Findings from the baseline show that the prevalence of undernourishment in 2016 for stunting, moderate stunting, and severe stunting was 22.9% and 20.4% and 20.5% respectively. While in 2019, the report indicated that 32% stunting and 21.2% and 10.10% for moderate and severe stunting respectively. Thus, we have moderate decrease in severe stunting among our young children. Goal 3. The summary of the baseline indication that the rate of under 5 mortality rate, meaning that for any child born in a specific year to survive before the age of 5, 1,000 births in 2016 was 128 to 1,000. It has reduced significantly to 100 in both 2018 and 2019. Goal 4. Promoting lifelong learning opportunity. Participation rate of youth and adults in formal and non-formal education and training in the previous 12 months increased from 4.97% in 2016 to 5.38% in both 2017 and 2018. There is significant increase in investment in education sector, especially from the organized private sector. Goal 8. Promote sustained, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth. Full productive employment and decent work for all. In 2016, Nigeria faced economic challenges, which was fallout of global oil prices crash and insufficient foreign exchange earning to achieve balance of trade. This was, however, increased from 1.6% in 2016 to 0.82% in 2017, with annual per capita of 17.31% and was subsequently increased to 1.91% in 2018. And in 2019, we have 2.27% with per capita GDP growth of 1.22%. This was subsequently sustained, and we hope for significant improvement going forward. Goal 10. Reduction to reduce inequality within among the countries. According to the baseline report, the labor shares of GDP, which comprises of wages and social protection transfer, estimates that 2016 the labor share of GDP was 25.17% and witnessed a steady increase of 26.06% and 26.61% in 2017 to 2019. With the successful realignment of national statistical system in Nigeria with the indicators of the SDG, this December, the second of series, going forward, Nigeria will be able to track and report its on SDG on an annual basis compared to what we normally have from the United Nations. So we have the first-hand information and we'll be able to argue if the report and data is not correct. So every year we'll have our first-hand information through our National Bureau of Statistics. Nigeria now, again, the first country in Africa to have successfully realigned the national statistical data 2 times. The takeaways. The Nigerian government has demonstrated strong commitment towards the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and SDGs. Institutional framework has been established at the national and sub-national level to support the effective implementation of the SDGs. Thus, Nigeria is leading in the institutionalization of the SDGs. The SDGs cannot be achieved by standalone programs and projects. They must be carefully integrated into national and sub-national policies and development plans. Currently, we have integrated the SDG into Nigeria National Development Plan 2021 to 2024, and work is ongoing on 2025 to 2030. And we're presently supporting the 16 states to develop same. It is our hope that 36 states and the ICC will be developed as we move on. And this is our approach to mainstreaming, accelerating, and policy support of the SDG by Nigerian government. Robust monitoring and tracking system has been put in place to ensure effective tracking and intervention using computer-based software. We are committed to conducting voluntary national review every 2 years for presentation to the high-level political forum in New York. To leave no one behind, we are on track, and we need the expertise of the resources of all, both the private and public sector, the UN development system, the donor community, academia, the wider civil society, and concerned citizens, especially the philanthropists, to be able to collectively achieve SDGs.
That has been the size of our package for today. Remember, you can follow us on all social media platforms as we implore you to join us again next week for yet another interesting episode of Agenda 2030. Until then, bye-bye.